Okay, so we're live. I'm just going to hopefully make it a little bit brighter. That helps. Okay, morning guys. So what we're going to do today is, again, just building on the stuff we've done in the previous days, working on our body scan, which is checking in the mornings and seeing how things are going for us. We're going to be working on the pelvic tilts, again, super important combination, relaxing the abdominal muscles, stretching through the hip complex. We're going to be working on a different frontal plane stretch to the scoliosis today, and also some back strengthening through the foundation training, which I've introduced you to a little bit. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, first thing we're going to do is lie down on our backs. So find a place to lie down. Now, I had a comment just yesterday about, well, what if I can't lie down? And that's quite common in advanced stages of scoliosis, especially when it's coupled with kyphosis, which is the rounding of the back. So you're going to whack a pillow here, you're going to put a pillow in under here. You're just going to make yourself comfortable, okay? Because this in itself, this position, you know, it can actually cause stress in the lower back, it can cause stress in the neck. You can see my ribs are popping out, right? Which tells me that my thorax is a little tight. So, you know, to get the ribs, to stop my ribs from popping out, that's not even enough, right? I need to get my head, kind of that height. There you go. So now my ribs are flat. So that just shows me how tight I am in my upper back as well, because this is having the ribs and the hips aligned is ideal. And so what happens is when I take my support away, my upper back does not have the flexibility to allow my head to drop. And you can see it comes from my lower back. So it doesn't bother me, but it could bother someone else. So put something under your head, no problems. All right. So here we are, you're lying down and you're scanning through your body. You're scanning through your toes. Is that bunion hurting you at the moment? Through your ankles. Any old ankle injuries talking to you? Your knees. Your hips, your back, and your shoulders, chest, neck, arms. Here's something interesting. Well, I think it's interesting. So if you know, there's this virus going around at the moment, but if you get a normal flu or a severe cold and you're quite sick, you may notice that old injuries and old symptoms start to come back. So you're like, oh, my knee's really sore. I had that knee injury 20, 30 years ago. Or why is it my shoulder starts aching when I get sick? Well, the interesting part is that the body is becoming more aware of itself when you're sick, right? Your attention from your brain is heightened into parts of your body. And so those areas that are firing off information to your brain, it's usually silenced or subdued so your brain doesn't hear it. But when you're sick, you become more, you're more alert of your own body. And so you begin to pick up on all those signals. So the extrapolation from that is that those old injuries are still firing off years after they happen. It's just that your brain's choosing not to listen to them until such time you get sick. So, you know, if that happens and every time you get sick you feel like this old injury is flaring up, it tells us that there's still more work to be done in the rehab side. So just an interesting kind of way of looking at it. Okay, from here I want you to bend your knees and you're going to take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in you'll notice that your back may want to arch up. And if it doesn't, that's okay, but I want you to just gently pull the spine off the mat. Imagine you've got a rolling pin going through your hips and you're rolling your pelvis down towards your feet, or you're balancing a column on your belly and you're letting that column tip down towards your knees. Okay, then breathe out and then allow the back to relax onto the mat. Then breathe in again, rotating towards your feet, and then breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. Now, the one thing I want you to think about is the smoothness of the movement here. Is there any jerkiness? I breathe out. If there is jerkiness, I want you to on the next repetition, really slow it down and work through that jerkiness, because your brain isn't saying to your back, okay, I want you to move the spine back down to the floor and I want you to do 5 or 6 little jerks. It doesn't say that, right? Your brain is saying, move the spine back to the floor, but your muscles don't have that brain-mind connection as strong as it should be, and they are doing jerks and different movements and so on. So you want to smooth those out. Those jerks aren't meant to be there, and they just tell me or tell us that there's a little lack of coordination between what you're asking the brain to do and what it's doing. Okay, next thing, you're going to put your hands behind your head. You don't need to interlock your fingers, you can just put one hand on top of the other, and you're going to breathe in and do the pelvic tilt again. And this one, you can actually bring your shoulder blades down towards each other if it's not too painful, and then breathe out, bring your elbows up towards the ceiling, tuck your chin into your chest, and just lift up your upper back, get a little bit of tension into there. Then you breathe in and breathe out. So you're getting a little tension into your abdominal muscles, but then you're relaxing completely as you breathe in. And then breathe out. Elbows up, chin in, that's it. Breathe in. Just relaxing completely. And with these simple exercises, I've had people who've had pain in their backs for 20 years help reduce that pain significantly, if not eliminate it, just by doing this sequence of exercises. So it may look like we're not doing much. You may even be like, hey, Ed, this is the 4th time we're doing this. You know, what gives? Show us a new exercise. No, this is a key foundational exercise that everything else builds on. And it's very powerful. Okay, we're going to stop there. Next thing we're going to do is let the knees drop out. Make sure you've got enough room to do that. Hands out about a foot, 30 centimeters from your sides, and you're going to rotate your hands outwards, bring your shoulder blades together, and let your knees drop down as your spine arches up. So breathe in, and then as it all reverses, breathe out. You can lift your your shoulders here off the floor slightly. Let your chin jut out towards the ceiling, and then breathe in. Slide your chin back towards your throat. Let the back of your head slide up the mat slightly. Breathe out. That's it. Breathe in. And breathe out. One more of these. Breathe in. Breathe out. So this word, the word that describes the movement of taking a muscle all the way into stretch and all the way into contraction, is pandiculation. So that's what we're doing here, we're pandiculating. So the next part of pandiculation we need to do is one that you might be familiar with. You're going to take, let's say you've got a reverse S curve, okay? So your upper back is slightly bent to the left. You're going to take your left hand up above your head. Now, if you have just a C curve, looking at you from behind, you're going to take your right hand up above your head. If you have a reverse C curve, you're going to take your left hand above your head. But for the moment, I'm just going to talk about an S curve, okay? So, you take your left hand above your head, that's going to start to stretch out your upper curve, and then you've got your lower curve. You're going to take your right leg down. So you're going to push your left leg all the way up and your right leg down, okay? And breathe in as you do this. Breathe in. And then relax that down. No pulling. You don't need to pull things down. You're just going to relax. Then breathe in. Reach. Good. And breathe out. Now, I was talking about a C curve. Let's say you're looking at yourself from behind. You've got a reverse C curve. You're going to lift your left hand up and then your left leg down. Or if you've got a standard C curve looking from behind, you're going to put your right hand up and your right hand down. If you have a standard S curve looking from behind, which is quite rare, right hand up, left leg down. But most of you will have a reverse S shape. So it's left hand up, right leg down. So where you go, stretch through there. Good, come back. Again, stretch through there. And then come back, relax. And stretch. and relax. Good. Okay, we're going to get up from this position. I like to roll to my side, use my hands for support, push myself up, turn onto all fours, swing one leg through, and then stand up. Your choice on how you do that. Okay, so how are we doing? We're going to be going into the same stretch, but standing up, okay? I'm just going to check something. I'll be back in a second. Okay, good. Mike Ritz, how are you, my friend? It's been a while. All right, we're going to do the same kind of exercise, but this time we're going to be standing up. So think of it like this. This is you from behind as a reverse S curve. You're going to take your left hand, shoot that one up, your right leg going down. Now, if you just have a reverse C curve like this, you're going to take your left hand going up and your left leg going down. If you have a normal looking C curve from behind, you're going to take your right hand up and your right leg down. If you have a reverse, no, it doesn't work. If you have an S-shaped curve, which is the opposite of this, your right hand's going to go up and your left leg's going to go down. But I'm going to talk about this one because it's the most common type of S curve. All right, I'm going to stand on a little step just to help slightly, but you don't necessarily need to. But we're going to go left foot on the step. Now that left foot on the step will temporarily push this upwards, allowing more of a gap here, okay? So left foot on the step, right hand on the wall here, like this, or wherever. I've got it in front of me. I always have it like around the mid-chest, or where I think the apex of the curve would be. And then you're going to reach your left hand up. Reach that left hand up, push the heel down on that right foot, and then come back. And this time we're going to breathe in as we do this. Breathe in, and breathe out. Okay, I'm just going to turn around so you can see that. So I'm standing here. This is kind of a passive stretch that's happening down here. And this one's an active stretch. My hand is on the wall in front of me. Breathe in, and breathe out. And you can see how this upper curve is changing here whilst the lower curve is fixed. Breathe in and breathe out. That's good. Breathe in, breathe out. Now the Stroth method talks about directional breathing. And that's good because we're actually inflating the curve from the inside using the lungs, okay? So imagine my curve is like this. This lung is slightly compromised, okay? As I stretch and I breathe, I'm going to take my attention on my mind's eye. I'm going to push the air into my left lung and try and inflate it from the inside, okay? So it's here, you're breathing in and breathing out. Breathe in, open, breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Good. We're going to take that to the next level now. We're going to add some movement from the lower curve in here. So we've done this one before, where we're just going to take the left leg behind us just a little bit, which opens up that the concavity on that lower curve, okay? So this is for a reverse S curve. We're opening up the concavity here. Just so we're clear, the lower part of a reverse S curve is a standard C shape, okay? So if you have a standard C shape, you would do this exercise that I'm doing for your lower half, which you'll be lifting your right hand up. Okay, so we're here, standing as normal. I'm actually going to lift my foot up to start it flat. So my spine is getting a little tension here. We're ready to go here, and then we're going to breathe in, and then breathe out. I'm bending my left knee just a little bit. Breathe in, and breathe out. So you can see this. I'm just going to turn. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And from behind, we're going to do a couple more. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Nice. Okay. So our spines should be feeling just a little bit more mobile now. Remember I talked about this hip movement happening here. So I want you to do this. Just do this hip left and right. So you're transferring the weight onto one leg and you're bending the knee of the opposite leg. Then you're transferring the weight the other way, okay? So it's like literally like a little kind of salsa type movement. I'm getting that play into my hips. I'm surprised about how many of my clients can't actually do this movement, okay? You're putting the hip out to the side and you're putting the hip out to the side. So a lot of people end up kind of doing this and it's very stiff and awkward. And I feel that's mainly to do with our society and our culture. We don't allow our hips to move very much. I'm now in Latin America. No one has this problem. When I'm saying do this, everyone's like, oh yeah, I got this. So it's more of a cultural thing, but I want you to try it. Now, what might relate for you is, you know when you shut a car door and it's not quite shut properly? Well, I want you to imagine you're just bopping that car door. Bop. And then you can get the movement. That's the phrase I found so useful with my clients. Just imagine you're shutting a car door, boom. Or you're hitting someone on the hip, hitting someone on the hip. Okay, you'll start to feel this working your hips a little bit as well as into your lower back. So you're getting some nice frontal plane movement through the hips here. This is good. Yesterday we did a lot of rotation or transverse plane movements. So we're not going to do those again today. You can watch that video. It's up on YouTube or it's on, scroll down on this Facebook page. All right. Okay, we're going to finish today with some strength work to the lower back. So I want you to take your legs a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. You're going to bend your knees and you're going to hinge at the hips, okay? So from the side, you're going to hinge at the hips. Just excuse me 1 second. Yes? Yeah, go on. Okay. You're going to bend at the hips. Bend your knees slightly with your legs slightly wider than shoulder width apart. I want you to lean back so the weight's in your heels so that you're not toppling over backwards, but you're almost there. Okay. Then you're going to counterbalance with your hands here. I don't want your back rounded or anything like this. It's just going to be nice and straight like this. Hold this position. This is good. And then if you can feel your back tightening up, that's fine. But I want you to take your arms up over your head like this. Okay. Hold this position, please. Good, we're going to hold this for 30 seconds. Now I've got my fingers pointing towards each other like this. You can interlace them if you want. Go, please. I've got my kids asking me questions here. They're wondering where their tablets are. They're not going to find them. They are well and truly hidden. Okay. And then bring your arms back down and then come up to this position. Perfect. Okay, shake that off. We're going to do something else again. Okay? Sorry, excuse me. Diego, no screens this morning, okay? Yeah, no, Diego, you just go, okay? You take your sister with you as well. Okay. Hips are going, legs slightly wider than hip width apart. Hips go backwards. And you're here into this position. This time I want you to take your shoulder blades back, turn your thumbs outwards, and you're going to get a lot of tension in those back muscles. Really open up your chest, but you're not dumping into extension. You're still keeping your ribs a little bit close here. Good. And then you're going to take the hands up and into this. This is the advanced position. Or here, and hold this. We're going to do 30 seconds. I don't have a timer, so I'm just going to roughly guess. Now you should be feeling it into your lower back here, into your butt, into your hamstrings. That's okay. You'll be feeling it all the way up on the muscles either side of your spine up in here. It's all good. Lengthen your hands out, whether they're here or here. You lengthen your head upwards and your butt backwards. Really getting some length into your spine. That's good. We'll do another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And then you can put your hands on your knees. And from here, I want you to actually reach down to the ground. Stretch out that lower back. If you know stretching is not your friend, well, you don't need to worry about this. You can just stay standing up. Bend your knees though, okay? You're going to bend your knees. And you're going to allow that back to drop down in between your knees. Really getting a good stretch here. Perfect. and then bring one hand up to your knees here, support your spine, straighten it up as much as possible as it's nice and straight, and then from here, push up, tuck your pelvis in underneath. Okay, good job. Next thing we're going to do is take it a little bit harder. We're going to step forward with one leg. So one of the previous videos we opened up the front of the hips. We're going to do that a little bit more here. We're going to lift both hands above your head, and I want you to lean away or over the leg that's out in front and away from the leg that's behind. All right, so you've got this position here. You're not dumping into your lower back, you're tucking your pelvis just a little bit, maybe even tensing your butt cheek, feeling a big stretch at the front part of your left leg if your right foot's forward. Try and keep the knee at the back leg relatively straight whilst leaning. Then I want you to let your heel drop all the way down and then back up. All the way down and back up. All the way down and back up. You might feel little shakes here. I'm getting little shakes. It tells me there's a slight disconnect between my brain and my calf muscle in this position. But you'll be noticing this huge stretch through here. And we're also opening up either the long side or the short side of a lumbar curve. It doesn't matter, we're going to do both. But we're really getting that psoas muscle that actually attaches to the spine and to the leg. Good, we're going to do about 10 of those and then come back down and change sides. So again, we're not allowing the back to extend too much. We're tucking the pelvis just a little bit, emphasizing the stretch onto the front of the back leg. Hands go up, leaning over to one side. If you find balance is a problem, you can hold onto the wall, no problems, or a chair down here or something. Get the breathing going, and then work the back leg. And as you do that, you'll notice things happening in the front of your right hip in this case. Really reaching up with those arms, interlink your fingers, touch your fingertips, it's up to you. That's good. We'll do 3 more of these. 1, 2, and 3, and then come back. Good, I'm just going to see how we're doing for time. Okay. All right, we come to the end of today's session. You should feel open up through your hips, more open up through your sort of flanks, that lower back. And now you've got some tools to work your upper back in the frontal plane as well. All right, so you guys have done a great job. And not sure about tomorrow yet, we'll see. But I think we're going to be able to do it. All right, take care. Bye-bye.